Is this recording? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. So I just came out of the shower, and as you can see, my hair is still wet. I realized something. I experienced the phantom vibration syndrome. Did you guys know about that? Okay, so today's video will be on a topic I wanted to cover for a long time. A list of 10 interesting syndromes. Now, I had come across several of these while watching movies and I googled their meanings in fragments, but I think it's about time I actually make a full video on this, so let's do it. Starting the list with something I just accepted experiencing myself is the phantom vibration syndrome, also known as the phantom ringing syndrome. The word phantom means something which doesn't exist, but if you search Google, you will find its meaning to be a ghost. Now, that is an anomaly in itself because ghosts do exist, but that is a whole other conversation. Let's not get into that. A good topic for another time. So, as I was saying, it's a person's sense of perception that makes them feel that their cell phones are ringing when it's actually not. Some other terms for this syndrome are ringxiety, which is a portmanteau of ring and anxiety, and phantom, which is a combination of the words phone and phantom. The brain perceives a sensation which is actually absent, an auditory hallucination if you may. Phantom vibration syndrome may be experienced while watching TV or riding a bike, or in this case even while taking a shower. This syndrome develops only after you set your cell phone call or notification settings to vibration mode. It makes you want to reach out and grab your phone every 2 minutes, and trust me, sometimes it gets super annoying. Okay, so next up we have the FREGOLI syndrome or the FREGOLI delusion. It was named after a quick change artist and Italian actor Leopoldo Fregoli. FYI, a quick change artist is someone who changes costumes quickly during a performance or a play. This syndrome leads people to believe that people around them are actually other people in disguise. Let me elaborate. For example, you see your dentist and you see him wearing a mask at the clinic and suspect that he is actually the burglar who broke into your house last week wearing a very similar kind of mask but is now disguised as your dentist. How terrifying is that? No, I'm genuinely asking, how terrifying is that? I have no idea. People with FREGOLI syndrome believe that people around them are capable of changing their dress, appearance, gender in a matter of few seconds with no links to their real identities whatsoever. The next syndrome is a black sheep. Now, I say that because this condition isn't respected in the syndrome community. All other syndromes were made to make a person feel less of a person, but not this. Quite the opposite actually. This syndrome is there to make you feel like a perfectionist. It's called OCD, which stands for obsessive compulsive disorder. OCD is an anxiety disorder in which people have recurring unwanted thoughts or ideas or obsessions that compel them to do something repetitively, such as washing their hands, which is the need of the hour, checking the door, or maybe cleaning the window panes to a perfect shine for the 27th time. If you have this condition, you are believed to be someone straight out of a fairy tale, like so perfect. Now, speaking about fairy tales and whimsical adventures, this next syndrome is AWS. No, it's not Amazon Web Services. It is called Alice in Wonderland syndrome, or Todd syndrome, named after a British psychiatrist, Dr. John Todd, who first identified it in the 1950s. But I think I'll stick with Lewis Carroll on this one. Alice in Wonderland is a condition which causes temporary episodes of distorted perception. You start feeling larger or smaller than you actually are. Sometimes when you're in a room, you feel like the furniture around you are continuously moving, sometimes further away or sometimes closer. These episodes aren't a result of a problem with your eyes. I mean, your eyes are perfectly fine, I assure you. It's just your brain playing with you and causing this distortion. Okay, so next up we have the Stockholm syndrome, which is a very interesting one. It occurs when hostages or abused victims bond with their captors. Their psychological connection develops over the course of days, months, or maybe even years of captivity. The victims develop positive feelings for their captors. It's almost as if they're empathizing with them, trying to understand the motive behind their capture. And sometimes they even begin to feel as if they share a common goal or cause. Simultaneously, they may also develop negative feelings for the people who are trying to rescue them or help them escape the situation that they are in. They start hating the idea of a rescue, or more specifically the people who are partaking in it. Now, you might ask me, what's with the name Stockholm? Like, what's the history? It's pretty straightforward. Because this was first experienced in Stockholm, Sweden, where 2 armed men held 4 people hostage over the course of 6 days when trying to rob a bank. And after they were released, they refused to testify against their captors and, believe it or not, even raise money for their defense. What do you say to that? Tell me. No, actually wait, don't tell me. Let me tell you. Like every action has an equal and opposite reaction, here too, this syndrome has an exact inverse to this list, which is the LIMA syndrome. Well, in this case, the captors or the victimizers become sympathetic towards the whims and fancies of their captives. Like if you ask them for a cold coffee is what you'll receive. Now, there are a number of reasons as to why this may occur, but with the objective of keeping this video short and precise, I'll bring it down to just 2. Number 1, the kidnappers may set out thinking that they are capable enough to stab someone in the chest on the way, but they find they cannot. And number 2, they actually have no intention of harming the hostages at all. Threatening the hostages is just a technique to apply pressure to achieve something particular, or maybe a means of drawing attention to their cause, providing them with leverage. Okay, so the next syndrome that I'll be talking about is CAPGRAS syndrome. Also known as the imposter syndrome. It is a very rare condition in which someone believes that their loved ones or close ones have been replaced with doubles or imposters or doppelgangers. They are so adamant in their beliefs that no amount of reasoning can change their mind. They know it for sure that the people around them aren't the people who used to be, and are not open to any sort of rectification in that thought process. Now, I did a little extensive research on this. There are 2 systems that are at work inside our brains. The central nervous system that scans the features of the face and checks with your memory database. And the extended nervous system, which relays the emotional information related to that face. How you feel about that person, the memories you have had, the emotions shared, etc. From my understanding, I believe the disruption of the link between these 2 is the cause of the CAPGRAS syndrome. Since this syndrome is rare, as I already mentioned, there are only a handful of cases, which only implies less number of cases to study. But statistics show that this is not a standalone syndrome. The common thread thus established is the fact that people with imposter syndrome also have other types of delusions, and not just this alone. Now, the next one is a very stupid one. I know I shouldn't be saying stupid, but I don't understand how this even qualifies as a syndrome. A first-class problem for a first-class vacation, the Paris syndrome. A lot of people have questioned the genuineness of this syndrome and even gone to the extent of calling it fake. Let me just get this fixed. Good news is, we don't have to be the judge of that, so I'll just tell you what it really is. Paris is called the city of love. Now, it's no secret that the representation of Paris in entertainment business is a limited one, fairly idealized most of the time. As a result, the expectations are set sky high. But when we actually set foot there, we realize it's not what we thought it would be. So it's a collection of this physical and psychological symptoms which catch you off guard and make you want to reconsider your travel destination choices. Sometimes it gets so serious that you don't want to travel at all for years. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the Paris syndrome. The penultimate syndrome is just one word, and the person suffering from it is fairly easy to spot: boantrophy. It is a psychological disorder in which the sufferer believes that he or she is an ox or a cow. They may be down on all fours chewing grass or occasionally mooing. They go through this mental metamorphosis from being a human to being a cow or an ox, as the case may be. All of a sudden they develop this craving for grass. They graze like cows do and eat the plants that they see cows eat. They may even join a herd to graze, or maybe to get that sense of belonging. They start walking like a cow with both their arms and legs, and if they have to grab the attention of others, all they do is bellow. The cause of boantrophy is still unknown. Many add a religious tone to it, others think it's witchcraft or black magic, while the scientific explanation to it says that it's an additional aspect of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. And finally, our 10th on the list is klüver-bucy syndrome. Now, this is a cerebral neurological disorder associated with damage to both the temporal lobes inside the brain, resulting in abnormalities in memory, social and sexual functioning, and idiosyncratic behavior. What happens is, a person suffering from this develops excessive oral tendencies with an urge to put all sorts of objects into the mouth. Adding to that, we also have memory loss, emotional changes, and uncontrollable appetite for food, but mainly the first one. And with that, I conclude my list of 10 syndromes that you might have come across while having a conversation with a friend or maybe while watching a movie. This video is purely intended for spreading knowledge. Do not forget that there are people out there who suffer from such disorders, neurological and psychological, and hence should not be made fun of. Ever. This is a serious topic and I tried my best to make more and more people aware about it. That will be it, guys. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below if you found this to be helpful and whether you want a part 2 of this. Also, I'd like to know if you are interested in videos similar to this one, not necessarily on syndromes or medical terminologies. An interesting story maybe, or cool gadgets that exist in the 21st century, or maybe the cruelest death punishments that had to be outlawed. You pick. And before leaving, do not forget to click on that subscribe button, because if you do that, I get to learn a lot of things, a lot of wonderful things, and in turn share them with you. Thank you guys again for hanging out. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in my next video.